Hello, I'm here to talk about tracking your hours. One of the most important things you can do as a master gardener is track your hours. Tracking your hours helps you work towards a goal, such as so many hours of public outreach or so many hours of continuing ed. If you keep your hours updated regularly, you'll always know where you stand towards earning your badge. Tracking your hours also helps to provide the organization with an estimate of the value of the labor that we are contributing to our communities. The database that is typically used to track your hours has been taken down for maintenance and upgrading. So it's not yet back online, and we are really not sure at this time when we can expect it to be back up. So in order to make it easier for you to track hours and your coach to review them, we created an Excel file for that purpose. Here's an example of the Excel file. Most people by now are already somewhat familiar with online spreadsheets, be it Excel, Google Sheets, or Apple Numbers. But we want to step through some of the different columns with you so you can become a little more familiar with them. Please note that there may be some differences between an Excel version, an Apple version, and a Google version. The first step, of course, is to enter your name in the green area above the word name. Please use your full name. Here we've got Mary Intern. At some point, these logs will be turned in, and we may have several Marys on board. Add the period the log covers in the green areas to the right, above the words from date and to date. Now for the columns. The first column's pretty easy. It's just the date. It should be the date that you worked your hours. As the slide says, you can only enter dates here. You'll receive an error message if you try to enter other data. The category column refers to the type of work that was done in more detail than the project. The project is kind of a summary header. So when you click on the category, you'll see a drop down of different categories to select from. Scroll down until you find the one that you want. You cannot add to the categories. You'll get an error message if you try to type in something else. There's a complete list of the categories on the Category Project tab. And so if you want to take a look at that, it's sometimes easier to find what you're looking for there. It helps you find it back on the drop-down. So you'll see that there are typically two listings for the different gardens. One is for maintenance and one is for outreach. If your garden is open to the public for questions and posts assigned to that effect, it counts as outreach. Hotline hours also count as outreach. So there are over 100 different categories, so it might be helpful to check the Category Project tab first to determine which category you want to select. The drop-down is a little bit small to work with. The next column, the Project Field column, automatically fills in based on what you selected in the Category column. Then in the Description field, you should enter a detailed description of what you did. It doesn't need to be long, just enough so that your coach understands what you are working on. For instance, if you're taking a Deep Roots class, you would use a category of Deep Roots Series. The project would fill in automatically with continuing education, and in the description field, you would add the name of the course, and then in the hours, you'll put in how long the course was. The next 5 columns help summarize your hours. So you need to enter an X in the column where you want your hours applied. These will be totaled at the bottom. You can only use a capital X or a small x in these squares. They are public outreach, fundraising, committee, other, and continuing ed. And you can see I've listed the intern requirements here as well. Then finally, for the hours, hours should be entered in increments of 0.25, so a quarter of an hour. Enter your hours, your service hours under voluntary hours, and enter your continuing ed, if you have any, hours under the column labeled continuing ed. And don't worry about the advanced training at this point. Be sure to include your travel time in your service hours, not for continuing ed, but you're allowed travel time on the service hours. If you run out of rows, when you do need to insert some more rows, please make sure that your cursor is above the total line. That's really important so that the sums at the bottom will pick it up. Final column is the coaches column. Your coach will add notes when they review your log. For instance, if continuing ed was checked but the hours worked were a garden, the coach would notate it there. This is to be used as a communication tool between you and your coach. And then finally, your hours are totaled at the bottom. In this example, you see that the grand total is 64.75 hours. And then over on the left of the slide, you'll see the breakout hours. That's the sum of the hours where you indicated, what category to put it in with the X. Make sure that your hours to date, that total at the bottom, equals the total at the right. If not, then you need to take another look at what you put in. There may be a missing X somewhere, or maybe two X's on the same row. And if you have any questions, just contact me at MGGKC.hours@gmail.com. Thanks. Have a good day.